Hello everyone, I am Martin Linksfeld, a master chef at foggykitchen.com. In this introductory lesson of our short course, I'm thrilled to walk you through deploying OCI Container Instance with Ephemeral Public IP using Terraform automation. This code will also deploy a demo web application that is Dockerized and used for building containers within the container instance. To make this exercise as smooth as possible, I will be using a publicly available GitHub repository covering Terraform automation, and all elements will be deployed with Oracle Resource Manager. Here is a topology diagram of our lesson. As you can see, we have a OCI region here. In that region, we have one VCN, and inside this VCN, we have a public subnet called Foggy Kitchen Container Instance subnet. We would like to create container instance in this subnet. So we need to build a Dockerized container, and we need to push that build into OCI container registry with Docker push. Then we will let OCI to make a pull operation, so it will pull the container image directly from container registry, and container instance will be created. As you can see, we are also using Ephemeral Public IP, which will be associated to container instance VNIC. Then it means application users will be able to access the application through this Ephemeral Public IP. The problem is, of course, that this Ephemeral Public IP will disappear after container instance destroy operation. But this is just the beginning. So let's now move to our code. Okay, now we are in GitHub repository of our code. Before going directly to Terraform, let's focus for a moment on the application, web application, which will be deployed. Let's start with the config. We will use Nginx for the purpose of serving the web pages. So as you can see, this is extremely simplified nginx.conf, and most of the entries are static here. So of course we are just defining the location for CSS, for images, for JavaScript, and so on. But also we are defining here the listening port. So this Nginx port will be replaced by some value defined by us. By default, it will be 80. Okay, this is our configuration of the Nginx configuration files. Let's go upstairs, and here we have a Docker subdirectory with a Dockerfile. In Dockerfile, we have a definition how to build our container. The starting point is this Nginx image. Then on top of that, we are copying the content of our Nginx configuration to all necessary directories. Some of them will be just created. Then we are also creating directories for the application elements such as JavaScript, CSS, and the images. And finally, we are also copying static HTML files and all the other elements of application. Here, we are defining Nginx port argument, which can be then populated from the outside of the Docker file, and we are setting the environmental variable here, right? Then we are defining expose instruction here to expose port, which is defined by us, to the outside. So it will be a way to access our web page. And finally, with this command, we are replacing our placeholder for Nginx port with the proper value, which is injected into our Docker config and we are running nginx, right? And this is a definition of our Docker image. Let's go upstairs, and here in the source directory we have our web application. It is mostly flat file structure, no dynamic content, and of course we have some JavaScript for top menu, which will be animated, and we have CSS style sheet here as well, and of course we have also images, right? Some small images to make our web page fancy. And that is mostly all in regards to our web application, which will be deployed inside a Dockerized container. Now let's move to Terraform code, which is responsible for building our infrastructure. First of all, network topology, which has been explained previously. Here we are just building VCN. We are also building two gateways to the internet, one internet gateway and NAT gateway. I will explain why those two are necessary. We also need two route tables, which will go through our NAT gateway or through the internet gateway. Then we are building security list. Of course, the port will be opened for accessing from the outside. And finally, we have a instance subnet, right? For reserved public IP, it will be a separate lesson, lesson number 2. Okay, that's our network topology. And let's go then to artifact container repository.tf file. In this file, we will create artifacts container repository. In fact, it will be our OCI registry. And then we have a null resource, which is responsible for building Docker container locally in our resource manager environment. And first of all, of course, we need to log into our OCI registry with this command. Then we are removing original images if they are already in a machine. Then we are running Docker build command based on the Docker, which has been explained, and then we are tagging the image with right tagging, right? And then we are pushing with Docker push our container, our image into OCI registry, right? So that is the first step. And let's return back to root directory. Then we have something which is called container instance.tf, this file. And what will happen here? First of all, we need to define from where we need to pull the image, right? So here is a registry endpoint. We are passing information about username and password. And then we will build the container according to definition defined here. And what is important, we are passing environment variables, and of course it will be nginx port, right? Of course, we can also define the shape of the container instance. We are able to define the right amount of memory and OCPUs we would like to use, and our VNIC of container instance should be associated with our instance container instance subnet. Finally, we are defining if public IP address will be associated automatically, meaning it will be ephemeral. Is public is IP assigned means it will be assigned automatically. Okay, that is all in regards to container instance. And now we can try to deploy our code in with the usage of Resource Manager. Okay, let's deploy the Terraform code and the application with the usage of Resource Manager. So let me open this one in another tab. And as you can see, because I have been authorized previously, I have landed immediately in a Resource Manager. So I'm in Frankfurt region. I will accept the terms and condition, and my stack will be downloaded directly from our repository. I will change the compartment to Resource Manager compartment, and I will move forward. Now I am in a form which should be fulfilled. So let me choose first availability domain. Let me now fulfill OCI registry username. It will be Martin Linksfeld at foggykitchen.com. Here will be the password. And I will finally fulfill OCI registry namespace. Let's click on Show Advanced Options. I will scroll down. Let's downgrade container instance shape memory to 1 GB, which is good enough for us. And what I will choose an public ephemeral IP. Let me decide if I want to change the port. Okay, let's stay with port 80. Okay, this is all what I want to do, and now I can click next. This is exactly what I'm planning, and let me click create to run the stack, because run apply will be started automatically. So after a second or two, the job for creating all of the elements will be accepted, and of course I can wait here just to see the result. Let's pause the recording for now and wait for job to be finished. As you can see, the job in Resource Manager is finished, successful. Let me see the logs. So what do we have here? So Terraform, the resources which will be built, all of them are here encountered in a form of the list. So I need to scroll down to see the end. And as you can see, the plan is to create 11 elements. Nothing to change, nothing to destroy. So we are starting with building compartment, and then we are moving to container registry. So we are logging into a Docker with our null resource, and then as you can see, we are building the whole instance, the whole container image, and this container image finally will be pushed into our registry in OCI. So here's a preparing phase, waiting and pushed. So it looks like registry has been updated, and then we are creating container instance. So it looks like apply complete, 11 resources added. So let's verify that. So let's start with networking, right? So I'll go to the network. I need to switch the compartment to Foggy Kitchen compartment, and as you can see, we have VCN and we have container instance subnet, right? Okay, super cool. Now let's go to our container registry just to verify if we have entries, right? And as you can see, we have a latest version of our container ready, a container image ready to be used. And let's move to container instances. So As you can see, we have our container instance, and this instance is based is using container, which is defined here, right? So this is exactly what is expected, and it is based on the image URL defined here. What is important here is a public IP. So let's copy this public IP address and let's open another tab. And that is not the right thing to do. And I will close it. I'll do it one more time. And here is the app. Here is the app which has been created for us. So we can navigate in this app to see some pages, and this app is publicly available. Super. So it looks like our exercise is successful. Now we can destroy everything. So we need to return back to our resource manager stack, and we need to destroy our Terraform, right? Okay, we need to switch to resource manager compartment, and we are back in our resource manager. Let's click destroy, and within next few minutes, all the infrastructure, including container instance, will be wiped out. That is the end of our lesson. Thank you, and see you soon in the next chapter.